Today's routine, we're going to work at your lats and your shoulders. We're looking to improve your ability to put your arms overhead. Now for this, you're going to need a foam roller to hit your lats, and then we've got a band set up here to do a stretch after here. Now obviously, if you don't have a band set up, you can do things just like sort of hold onto a door frame or a rig, although the band gets your shoulder into a slightly better position because you can turn your hand upright. So use this if you can, but there are alternatives. So starting out then, we're going to go with the roller now. On the lats. Now I've done this once already this week, and at times you might need to just hit this area twice a week. So obviously the lat's quite a big muscle here, and just in like 2 minutes, it can be hard to sort of work over the whole muscle. So, you know, the other day I went quite low here. So today I'm going to focus on getting quite high up here, where it can be quite thick up in that part there. So it can be quite a sensitive area. And all you're going to do, starting off, we're going to do 2 minutes. We're going to breathe in, contract the muscle into there, give it a good squeeze, and then we're just going to relax off and slowly breathe out. Okay, so you want to make that relaxation slow. Breathe in, hold for 3 to 5 seconds, and then slowly relax off. Now, I just had like a little bit of just felt like a bit like bubble wrap there, so you will get that feeling. Breathe in, contract, don't panic, it's just, you know, just what happens. And relax. Okay, so I'm going to lean my body forward slightly now, so I'm just hitting the slightly different part of it. I haven't moved up and down, just squeezing again and just relaxing. And you can do each area, like you can stay in an area for a while. You can do, you know, 2 or 3 sort of cycles of this contract and relax and then move on. Or, you know, you can just stay there just for a moment and just move. You're always going to find areas, see like there, that was really, again, like bubble wrap. I'm going to lean back slightly now, so I'm just, you know, you don't want to lean to that too far because you still want to stay on your lat. You don't want to start encroaching on other sort of back muscles, although it's not the end of the world if you do. We're just trying to aim at the lat, okay? So into there. We're just going to do another 10 seconds of this. And obviously, if you want to, you can pause the video. If you said that, you know, like I said, if you want to get more of the muscle, just pause it, spend longer there. But you could just split up into multiple sessions. So what we're going to do now is just going to do this pressure wave technique. So I'll show you from this angle so you can see what I'm doing. So basically what you're doing is just rocking back and forward now. And obviously we're going to do this for 30 seconds, but this can be quite sensitive. And if you find that, you know, that is just too painful to run over, stay with the contract and relax. You know, just desensitize the area, because that's what we're trying to do with this. We're trying to desensitize the area. We're trying to reduce some of the tension so we can get more blood flow in there. So it improves recovery, improves the amount of, you know, if you're doing something like some rows or like pull downs, you know, the amount of muscle blood that's going to get into the muscle can improve. And then we're just going to finish off now with what's called a scrub for 30 seconds. So we're just going, the muscle, this is staying still. Imagine that you're scrubbing yourself here. What we're going to do is this will stay still and we're doing the moving now. So we're going back and forth over the muscle. And again, you can go up into this part here, just under the armpit. You can go like about mid-lat. Scrub into there for maybe 10 seconds. You can go down a little bit lower towards, you know, sort of mid-rib cage area. Get into there. This one, I like this. It's nice. It's a weird feeling. It's sensitive, but manageable. Like it's actually quite nice. So we're going to go to the other side now. Again, we are going for pressure wave. Contract and relax. First of all, 2 minutes, 90 seconds. Breathe in. Hold for 3 to 5 seconds. Slowly relax off, okay? Sometimes the roller might move. As I relax, sometimes it just feels natural to just like relax and just let, you know, like an area, move into an area, like, and then that sometimes becomes the new area that you go to. But sometimes I do that and it will just like, it feels like a pop, pop, pop as the roller moves. So something you might want to do if you don't like that feeling is just move the roller, like lift yourself up and move the roller like that, just sort of move the place of it rather than rolling over the body. So like I said there, you know, when you're doing that pressure wave, sometimes it can just be too sensitive. Just relaxing it. So I'm just going to lean back slightly just to get high up in this lat here. Just. And sometimes it can be quite hard to like actually engage a certain part into there. So that's just something you might need to work out and practice. Just another benefit of that, you know, you start to learn how to engage individual muscles or what sort of certain muscle groups engaged feels like. Just into there again, like it's just that popping bubble wrap feeling. And I just lean back slightly into there, last 5 seconds. Good there. And what we're going to do now again, the pressure wave, so you're just going over, like I said, if it's desensitized enough, you should be able to just roll over it. And even if it is a bit sensitive, like, you know, depending on your sort of pain threshold, is how much you're going to deal with it. Like I can just, not saying I'm a tough guy or anything, but I can just put up with it, you know, just because I know, you know, like down the line, in the next couple of days, it's just going to feel better. And it's just putting up with something that's uncomfortable just to reap the benefits of it, I guess. So last one we're going to do now is just 30 seconds on the scrub here. So we're just going back and forth. We'll start again. We'll start mid lat here. We'll go quite high up into there. Which again, like this here, see, this doesn't feel that sensitive, but it feels like quite stiff. Whereas like down here, like it feels really sensitive. So, you know, different areas are going to feel different things. It doesn't necessarily mean just because it's more sensitive, it needs more work either. Sometimes you just haven't got, just your sensation is not as great in that area. It's just into there, okay? So, we've loosened off the lat. So what you should find now, so even just that alone, just loosen off the area and starts allowing the arm to travel up to there, or even if you just want the arm here for like a front rack and then going over, you know, you're pressing from this position, that starts to loosen that off. But what we're going to do now is aim at that position there, okay? So I'll stick this on top of here. So we are going to go for the band, and what we're going to want is you want to loop it so it sort of sits on your elbow there. Obviously, you don't want it too high, so it pops off, and we're going to hold on with this here. And the detail here is that you want this palm facing the ceiling. You don't want this or this especially. So what we're doing by doing this, you externally rotate the shoulder. So what we're trying to achieve there, we start adding a little bit of the skill element in that. The fact like it's not enough just to press your arm overhead. We don't want this elbow traveling out here. We want rotation. We want this wound up so that when we're here, we're in this stable position, or even when we're hanging on the bar, you know, it's stable when we start. We can move the shoulder blades. We can start to pull up. We can press all the rest of it. Okay, so we're going to do 2 minutes, 90 seconds, sorry, each side. We'll start off here, holding on there. What we do? Get to that position, take it as far as you feel comfortable with. And what we're going to do is what's called like a PNF type stretch. So we're going to keep the rib cage tilted down. Breathe in. You're going to contract your tricep, your lat, your shoulders. You're going to give everything a good squeeze, same as what we was doing on there. Relax off, and as you do, you can see what I've done there. I've just slightly leaned a little bit more into the band, which has then pulled my arm into a slightly more overhead position. Again, so you're just breathing in. You know, we're contracting, stimulating the muscle, and then the only thing that can happen after contraction is relaxation. And that's when we take that advantage of that. We get into that position, contract, and relax. And also by taking ourselves to end range. Now, if we don't use these positions, sometimes like our nervous system can perceive them as quite threatening. Breathing in, and then therefore what happens if your nervous system detects any threat, it just automatically shuts down your range of motion, shuts down your mobility, your range of motion mobility, and it shuts down your power output. So like in this case here, if it doesn't like a position, if it was threatened, it won't let you allow that. It won't allow you there. So we get into the position, we provide stimulus, contraction, and then we relax. And not only do we get that, you know, that take advantage of the fact that, you know, after you've contracted, the muscle relaxes, but we also kind of just letting the nervous system and the brain know, like, these are safe positions to be in. You know? Like, we can put our arms overhead, we can pick things up off the floor, you know, touch our toes, we can get into a deep squat position. You don't need to panic, or I'm not saying you're panicking. It's more like a subconscious thing, like your brain, your body's just like, what are you trying to do here? You just got to let it know it's okay, like it's safe. We're fine. And that's when that old expression comes in, you know, contract. If you don't use it, you lose it, you know. You don't use a position, your body just won't get used to being there. And then when you do go there, it will be like, well, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we're not used to this. Contract. So we're not magically growing longer muscles or making anything longer. We're just kind of reprogramming the system just to understand what's safe and what's not. Contract again. It's a good squeeze down here. So we're looking at about 25 seconds more now. Again, you only take it to a certain point. Your arm's only going to go certain backs, and then it gets to a point where you're sitting there, you're contracting, and relaxing purely for that, just to stimulate the muscle like I've just explained. 3, 2, 1.